It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I hope you had a great weekend. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you, Mr. Announcer, Sean Dolby, my guy, my man. It is time for the Geno Jones Show. You know. Now, if you're new to the show, I come to you live Monday through Friday, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 out on the West Coast. Here on the East Coast in the Carolinas, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday live. The Geno Jones Show is brought to you by CM, like Mary, my mother's name. CM Transportation. If your business needs dependable, reliable, on-time transportation, or maybe your business, you've got a transportation company you've been using. They're not dependable, can't rely on them, and they're like always on CP time, never on time. Contact CM Transportation at CM, like Mary, cmtransportationllc.net, cmtransportationllc.net, or you can call this number, area code 843-606-2702, 843-606-2702. Ask for Carissa Carter. Carissa Carter. She's CEO. You can just tell her you were watching the Geno Jones Show and you've got a business and you need a transportation company that's on time, that you can depend on, and you can rely on. She's got you covered. Well. All right. You know who's up now? Aries. They were up. They were up last. Who's up now? Come on, Tauruses. Stand up. Come on, Bulls. It's time for the Bull Run. Shout out to all my fellow Taurians celebrating a birthday today. Repping the shot. South side of Chicago, even I don't know if she moved out to L.A. I don't know if she goes back home. But anyway, Sherry Shepherd, who has the TV show Sherry, basically replaced Wendy Williams. Now it's her own show called Sherry. Sherry Shepherd, comedian. She was a co-host on The View from 2007 to 2014. So she was there for 7 years. She's been in a lot of movies, TV shows. One of the TV shows she had the longest run was called Less Than Perfect. Sherry Shepherd, 57 today. Happy birthday, Sherry, 57. Marshawn Lynch, Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. Should have been a two-time Super Bowl champion had they give Beast Mode the ball, giving him the ball instead of trying to throw the ball, pass the ball on the 1-yard line. Darrell Bevel, former offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. Come on, man. I know y'all wanted Dangerous Russell Wilson to get that MVP. Hand Beast Mode the damn ball and win back-to-back Super Bowls. I digress. Beast Mode, he came into the league. He played for the Buffalo Bills. He was a big star in college. University of California, Berkeley, from Oakland, California, Oaktown. I'm just here so I won't get fined. That was like his legendary saying. One year they have like the Super Bowl media day before the Super Bowl. And he was like, I'm not trying to talk to any of these reporters. And every answer that he gave to every reporter's question was, I'm just here so I won't get fined. And that was every answer. That was the answer to every question. Beast Mode is 38. Happy Earth Day today. So let's reduce our carbon footprint. Let's reduce this trash. Let's reuse what we can, and let's recycle what we can. So happy Earth Day to everybody. So let me start off congratulating Miss Mary J. Blige and A Tribe Called Quest, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They announced their inductees, so they had a lot of nominees, but today we know who's going to be inducted in the fall. Mary J. Blige, Tribe Called Quest, Kool and the Gang. Long overdue. Kool and the Gang should have been in the Hall of Fame like for a long time. So congratulations to my people, my girl, Miss Mary J. Blige. I love me some Mary J. Blige. She is truly the queen of R&B and hip hop soul, no doubt about it. And Tribe Called Quest, my man Q-Tip and the fellas, iconic, legendary rap group from the 90s. So I'm glad they recognized you. Kool and the Gang. Listen, there are so many people in the 90s that had hits thanks to Kool and the Gang sampling their music. As a matter of fact, even some of the songs way back in the 70s by Chic, Nile Rodgers said that he got an idea for like Good Times, that legendary bass line. Dun, 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 dun. He kind of got that from one of the Kool and Gang songs. Was it Ladies Night? That kind of gave him the idea. He was like, let me try to riff on this and kind of embellish. So Kool and the Gang, absolutely, positively legends. The former lead singer, legendary brother, Mr. JT, congratulations. Now, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I got to call you all out on something. The folks that were nominated, but that y'all snubbed, Mariah Carey, Eric B. and Rakim, really? Lenny Kravitz, Sade were nominated, but they didn't get in. Now, I know you're going to say, well, we can't let everybody in, but damn. Come on. Mariah Carey? Come on, man. Mariah and Mary J. should have went right in there together. And you got a Tribe Called Quest, and I agree, they should be in there, but how you going to have Tribe and not Rakim? Eric B. and Rakim should have went right in together. But it's their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's not mine, so y'all do what y'all want to do with it. Also, shout out to, let's see, to Dionne Warwick, the legendary Auntie Dionne Warwick, and legendary producer, Motown producer, Norman Whitfield producer. As a matter of fact, Papa was a Rolling Stone. That's like, when I think of Norman Whitfield and the Temptations, because he was not the original writer. You had Smokey Robinson and some other older Motown folks that was writing for the Temps, like when they first got started in the early and mid-'60s. But right around towards 69 and 70, Norman Whitfield and that one song, man, Papa was a Rolling Stone. That's Norman Whitfield. A lot of Temptations hits from the late 60s and early 70s. You'll see written by N. Whitfield. Norman Whitfield was a bad, bad brother. So they received the Musical Influence Award from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And speaking of Motown, the legendary Susan the Pass, who she was like the coach and just worked with so many artists like the Jackson 5 and Little Michael Jackson back in the day. Legendary Susan the Pass, who is as pivotal as almost anybody short of Berry Gordy to the success of Motown Records, especially in terms of like artist development. The legendary Susan the Pass, she received she got a special awards too, or will receive a special award. So this fall, you'll get to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on TV. So congratulations to all the winners. Shame on y'all for snubbing Sade and Mariah Carey and Eric B. and Rakim and Lenny Kravitz. Come on. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Lenny Kravitz was like Mr. Rock and Roll. I digress. Katt Williams is coming back to Netflix. Oh, yeah. Mr. Katt Williams, a.k.a. Money Mike. Pippin'. It's coming back to Netflix on May 4th, Saturday night, live, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. out in L.A. Yes, live from, so did you know that YouTube has a theater? Yes, YouTube has a theater out in Los Angeles. So it'll be Katt Williams live, once again, coming back to Netflix. Woke folk, like woke, like you woke up, folk, F-O-L-K, woke folk. And if there's anything like the Dark Matter tour that I just saw about a month ago, man, you are going to laugh your ass off. You're going to laugh so hard until they may have to send you to the ER. You might rupture your appendix if you got one. Because Katt, he will have you. Oh, my God. Mr. Money Mike. It's going to make some money. Do your thing. So mark your calendar. Saturday, May 4th, 10 p.m. on the East Coast, 9 p.m. in Chicago, 7 p.m. in Los Angeles, out on the West Coast. Cat Williams, Woke Folk, live on Netflix. You don't want to miss it. All right, so before I wrap up the show today, a shout out to everybody watching me live. Hey, if you're watching live, please jump in my chat room when I'm on camera. So I have a live chat room open. So if you want to say hi, if you want me to say hi to you on camera, I got you. If you want me to shout out somebody's birthday, like I did Sherry Shepard and Marshawn Lynch, and it's Earth Day, so shout out to Mother Earth. Just type it in my chat room. If you got a question or you want to, look, if you want to have a conversation, you want to debate, we can do that too. Just post it right in the chat room, and I will talk to you live on camera if you're watching me live right now. Okay. We have 197 days until November 5th. November 5th is the presidential election. The big federal election, the president, U.S. senators, many U.S. Senate seats are going to be open. All the seats in the House of Representatives, because those elections are every 2 years. Find out who your House, do you know who represents you in the United States House of Representatives? Well, if you don't, you can just Google who is my U.S. House of Representative. Type in your zip code. That's simple. Just type in your zip code. Who is my representative in the United States House? Type in your zip code. If you don't know, you'll find out. If you don't know who your senator is, who represents you in the U.S. Senate, do the same thing. Who is my U.S. senator? Just type that or speak it into Google. You can talk it and then type in your zip code. We are 197 days away from Election Day. Now, I talked about this last week. I had to address this brother. I've been a huge fan of him on TV. You know, he's loud. Who am I to call anybody loud? Gregarious. He's found his niche. He's got, I wouldn't even call it an act, because from people that I know, they've talked to him, it's really pretty much his personality. But look, I admire this brother's success on ESPN, one of the highest paid personalities, even though they brought somebody in who didn't have nowhere near the experience, and paid this dude, a former pro football player, a punter, who just happened to be white, Pat McAfee, from what I heard, damn near double what Stephen A. Smith is making every year. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, I'm just putting things in context for you, and you'll understand in a minute. But anyway, so professionally, I've admired the job this brother has done. He attended a HBCU, Winston-Salem State University. He has used his platform on ESPN to give back to his university, and I admire the brother for that. Went to a HBCU, nothing but props for that, giving back to that community, pouring into that community. But when I see foul, if I smell BS, I gotta call it, because I would expect, especially my viewers who know who I am, who watched this show for 3 years, and know that I stand 10 toes down in love and support for the culture and the community. Not, nobody agrees with everything that anybody says. And I say a lot of stuff on this show, people may not agree, but I'm gonna always stand on truth, and I'm gonna always bring receipts. But we are in a dangerous time right now. It's important that you vote in every election, all your local elections, city council people, or your aldermen, alderwomen, or councilmen, councilwomen. School board, you absolutely need to make sure that you vote for any school board election, because that's how we got all these books banned, because you've allowed these MAGA cultists to take over these school boards in many cities and towns and counties. You need to make sure you're voting for every judge, because these judges that are elected have a direct influence on your life and the life of the people that you love. So it's really important that you vote in local elections, because in most cases, the local elections, the people that you elect or elect by omission because you don't vote, that you allow to have power over you, affect and influence your life, affect your life more immediate every day. But don't get it twisted. Federal elections, people that control the United States House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, the executive branch, the presidency, they can pass laws. Senators, presidents can select a person to sit on the Supreme Court justice, and he or she can put people of the highest court in the land on the Supreme Court that can make a decision, or they can reverse or strike down a decision, a legal decision, that could affect not just you, but for the next 3, 4, 5 generations of your family members that will come behind you. That could affect your kids and your grandchildren, maybe unborn yet, for the next 30, 40, 50 years. So we are living in a dangerous time, because when it comes to this presidential election, and I'm going to say it again, and I say it all the time, it is not a choice. It's not a choice between who you like the most. It's a lot of conversation. President Biden, yes, a lot of people are upset because the way they felt that he's allowed the state of Israel or that government to engage in genocide. And I don't disagree, but I've explained to people on this show that President Biden is only following a blueprint and a game plan that was put in place 70 some odd since 1948, 76 years ago, when America, along with Great Britain, primarily France, created the state of Israel for basically for European Jews who were victims of the Holocaust. Because the state of Israel actually almost wound up in where Uganda is. Yes, Uganda almost became the state of Israel. I digress, because I've talked about that in earlier shows. So I get it. He supported, listen, the Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, straight, no, look, unabashedly a white nationalist. The Prime Minister of Israel is the Jewish version of, as I call him on this show, Orange Hitler, Donald Trump. Period, full stop. And the people he's got around him in his cabinet, extremely right-wing, Jewish, MAGA cultists, far right-wing, racist, all of that. Straight up white nationalists. And they're not trying to hide it. But President Biden was trying to support the people, not the prime minister. Unfortunately, the majority of people in the state of Israel, they want this prime minister out. This weekend, protests in Israel, over 100,000 people on the streets again, demanding, calling for new elections to vote Bibi Netanyahu's ass out of there. So why do I bring all this up? That we are living in some dangerous times right now. You've got Russia trying to take over and bully and straight up gangster Ukraine, invaded that country. Putin is straight up MAGA, white nationalist, dictator, wants to take over significant portion of Eastern Europe That's a whole different conversation. But the point I'm trying to stress is that we are living in some dangerous times. And we got to be real and we got to be honest. And like I said before, when white America catches a cold, black America catches double pneumonia, COVID, double pneumonia, all of it. So those of us that's got a platform, and those of us that's got a voice, now we got to be true. We can't afford to be selfish. Now, yeah, you got a right to say and do whatever you want to. But for me, I feel I have a responsibility to the culture significantly or specifically. And just to the American culture. Because the truth is, the same MAGA cultists that are truly racist and anti-black and anti-Semitic and anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim are sexist and misogynistic, but are not crazy about poor and working class white people. The same MAGA cult will come for you, my working class, poor and working class white brothers and sisters. Why do I say that? Because the cult leader has said on multiple occasions, talking about men and women who served this country, who gave up their life to protect the freedom and democracy that we enjoy every day in America. You know what he calls you? And your ancestors and your parents that served in the military, or you served and fought, maybe lost a limb, come back with mental trauma, stress, been exposed to all kind of carcinogens, and come down with different forms of cancer. Look at what's happening at Camp Lejeune. He calls you losers and suckers. And the weird thing is, what I don't understand, for all the MAGA supporters that are in law enforcement, all the police officers and the sheriffs that swear, that worship and call this man their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, if he thinks that men and women who have fought and died and wore the uniform of the United States of America fighting for democracy here and all across the world, if he calls them losers and suckers, what do you think he thinks about your ass in law enforcement? He sees you as losers and suckers too, because they don't give a shit about you. Now, what does that have to do with Stephen A. Smith? And I talked about it last week. Stephen A. went on Sean Hannity's show. Actually, he talked about it. He has a show on YouTube, right here on YouTube. And then I saw him on Fox News, on Sean Hannity's show. I'm like, let me pop my collar. It looks like an exit strategy to me. I know an exit strategy when I see it. Speculation. Maybe he's not that happy because I've heard some rumblings that, maybe Stephen A. and ESPN may not be on the best of terms. I heard folks kind of look sideways. Wow, you bring Pat McAfee with no kind of experience just because he was a punter in the NFL, and you pay him double what you're paying like your biggest stars, your biggest money makers at ESPN. So who knows? Sure, Stephen A., what I gather, looked at that move sideways. So maybe he sees Fox News as an exit strategy, or he needs clicks and views, just like I do. He's got a show on YouTube. He's got First Take on ESPN on TV. He was doing a radio show, so he's like, well, you know what? These MAGA cult members, they like sports too, and I need to try to play both sides against the middle. But when you say something and you know it's bullshit, and when you say something and you know better, and I know you know better, I got to call foul and I got to call BS again. So when Stephen A. Smith went on Sean Hannity's show and says that black people can relate to you, his saying was, black people can relate to you if you're suffering from the law or the court system, referring to Donald Trump's 88 indictments 88 charges, 88 federal charges, and this trial, which is an election interference trial. Now, the media, you'll see the big caption on TV, oh, hush money trial. Well, it's really an election interference trial. And the reason that he had his, at the time, attorney, Michael Cohen, pay a porn star, adult film actress Stormy Daniels, $130,000 because he didn't want the story to get out to the public. All this happened in October of 2016, roughly a month before the election, the 2016 presidential election. So this is really an election interference trial. This man paid to have information basically buried, kill it, bury it, smother it. We can't afford to let this information come out a month before election because that could hurt my chances to win. And it got buried, that story got buried until after the election, and we know what happened in November 2016. Donald Trump has never suffered from the law or the court system treating him unfairly. You cannot in no way, shape, or form compare the legal system still struggling to hold this man accountable. All the trials, Jack Smith, the not just the election interference, the basically the insurrection attempting to overthrow the government, or basically sending out the call on the issue to overthrow the federal government. That trial in D.C. slowed up. All the documents that he had, all the top secret documents that he basically, that was stolen because they were not his documents. They belonged to us, the American people. They belonged to the office of the presidency, not to the man or woman in the office. That trial, got a judge is doing everything she can to help him out. Election interference trial in Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, with this audio tape that everybody has heard when he's asking other politicians, Republicans, not Democrats, no George Soros plant, other Republicans. All I need is 11,700 votes so I can win the state of Georgia. That is election interference. Trial held up, not to mention the civil trial with E. Jean Carroll, this woman E. Jean Carroll, where a judge said that he was found liable. This was a civil trial, that he was found liable for sexual assault. And in one of the judge's basically statements in open court, he accused, based on the evidence the judge saw in the civil trial, because it was a bench trial, meant that it was a trial with just the defendant and the plaintiff, the prosecutors and the defendant and the judge, no jury. The judge in that E. Jean Carroll trial said he accused Donald Trump of rape. The judge did. You can Google that. Still, as a matter of fact, defamation suit, E. Jean Carroll was a part of it. It was a ruling against him for like $4 or $5 million. He kept publicly and posting on his social media platform, defaming E. Jean Carroll. Her lawyers went back and sued him again with a civil suit, and that's how this huge, $450, $60 million judgment against him in a civil suit, and a judge knocked that down to like $187 million he had to come up with up front. And there's no black person in the history of this planet, especially in the nearly 250 years, 248 years of America, the United States of America being a country, there's no black person that has ever got treated with the kid gloves that Orange Hitler has, that has avoided even spending 1 minute behind bars. Basically reported to it in Fulton County, he didn't spend any time in jail. Came in, got his mug shot, fingerprinted, and then had the nerve to turn the mug shot into t-shirts to sell. So to say black people can relate to Orange Hitler, AKA Donald Trump, if you're suffering from the law or the court system, Stephen A. Smith, you know better than that. Come on, brother, you're smarter than that. And basically, you know what you're doing to sit there and to parrot and repeat that racist trope, those racist ideas. Basically, a trope is just an idea. People make certain statements that are racist, and they call them racist, to basically repeat these white nationalist talking points. Come on, bro. You better than that. You are way smarter than that, Stephen A. There's no comparison. Black people are not relating to Donald Trump because there's no black person, not you or not me. He got 88 charges. If we got 8 charges, our black ass would have spent some time in jail before they bailed our ass out. You know it, and I know it. No black person ever. The only time a black person would have ever got the same treatment in the court system and in the legal system that Donald Trump has gotten is if Wakanda was real, was a real place, and we got 88 charges in Wakanda. Short of that, there's no black person in the history of this planet that would have ever, not to mention the civil case. No black person, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna take it a step further. The majority of white Americans wouldn't have got treated with the kid gloves that your man got treated with, Orange Hitler, unless they had money, power, and were well connected politically and financially. That's the funny part. A lot of these poor and working class MAGA cult members who are depending on Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, to give them health care, who didn't have health care, who didn't have teeth in their mouth, and were suffering from all kind of ailments, pre-existing conditions, and couldn't get health care till a black man was president. And they talk about him like a dog and wouldn't have teeth in their mouth. Some of them, their lives were saved. They were walking around like a human time bomb, walking around with cancer and diabetes, all kind of diseases. And their lives were saved because they were able to get health care that before that they couldn't get if it wasn't for the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. So, Stephen A., come on, you know better. We cannot listen. You got to do what you feel is best for you. But what we're not going to do, we are not going to lie, especially to the culture. Understanding and knowing that the choice in November, or when you can early vote, especially at the top of the ticket, is a choice between your freedom and the freedom of people that you love, yet unborn, and your oppression. Because this MAGA cult, Orange Hitler, Trump is just a figurehead. There are people around him smarter than he is, but is racist and bigoted and sexist and misogynistic who want to take this country back 200 years, nearly 200 years. In Arizona, they just basically not passed, but they've enacted a law to ban all abortions, a law that was written in 1864. Did you hear what I just said? A law from 1864, they are now invoking a law that was on the books when Arizona wasn't a state. It was called a territory. It wasn't even a state of the United States of America. This cult wants to take away every right, especially that black people have achieved. Voting rights, civil rights, your freedom. They've already stripped the freedom of more than half. America is made up of 51, 52, 53% of its population are women. So half of the population in 15 states, basically all the states that were a part of the Confederacy, including the state I'm standing in now, in the state of South Carolina, has stripped away a woman's right to determine whether she wants to have a child or not, when she can have a child, and if, God forbid, she is a victim of rape or her 10-year-old daughter or granddaughter or niece is a victim of rape or incest, these states are going to force that child to have the baby of a rapist. Or if she wants to terminate her pregnancy, like here in South Carolina, the child has to go to the police and report the rape. So a 10, 11, or 12-year-old child that was a victim of incest and was raped by a stepfather or an uncle, or God forbid, a brother or biological father, a 10, 11, or 12-year-old child, you expect to go to the police and report the fact that her stepfather or uncle or brother or biological father is the one who impregnated her, who was having sex with her, and you're going to force that baby to have a baby? It's a choice between your freedom and your oppression. Stop playing with people, Stephen A. Stop playing with people. Get your money, do what you got to do. Send a message to ESPN. Use Fox News as your exit strategy, but don't play with the culture, because the culture has supported you. And you have a huge voice in the culture. So you got a responsibility whether you want to own it or not. And we can have a debate. I'd love for you to come on and you can yell and scream. And look, I can give you the same energy that you would give me. We can do that with receipts. You can bring your receipts and I'll bring mine. But we cannot afford the times that we are living in now, when we know that there are forces that are trying to get back in power to put judges on all branches of these federal courts, from the Supreme Court on down, that will enact laws. You've heard of Project 2025, Stephen A. Smith. I know you have. I don't know if you've read it or not. You should look at it and see all the things that they plan to do that's really going to adversely affect black people. Like militarizing local police if there's a peaceful protest. God forbid if there's another George Floyd situation where a black man is murdered and choked out with the knee of a rogue police officer and caught on videotape, and people protest because they want justice. And the MAGA cult leader wanted to shoot those peaceful protesters back in 2020 and asked his defense secretary, why can't we just shoot them? And Mark Esper, his defense secretary, said, no, we can't do that. who wants to invoke the Insurrection Act on day one in the office. So if there's any peaceful protests, especially in cities that are either predominantly black or have a large black population. He always talks about Chicago. There's so much crime in Chicago, Detroit, and Newark, and Atlanta, and New York City. Read Project 2025, my brother, if you haven't. So do what you got to do. I'm not going to knock your hustle. But when your hustle or my hustle, especially if we have a platform and we have a voice and we have a reach, if the hustle is at the expense of the culture and the community and people that look like us, that love us and that we love, because this MAGA cult gets in power, your money is not going to protect you. Maybe you feel that if you kind of kiss up to Trump, he might go easy on you. You should know him. You know him better than I do. He don't give a shit about you or me. So you do what you got to do, but stop it. Stop with the BS. Stop with the nonsense. Black people cannot relate to Donald Trump unless they are part of this cult. Because Donald Trump has not suffered one day from the legal system in America or the courts. Not one day. He hadn't suffered for 1 second compared to the experience of black Americans in this country for 400 and going on 5 years. No. We can't relate to a dude that ain't suffered. Not at all. It's an insult to even say that. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. Shout out to everybody watching. God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. God most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab. Pull this, rip this video, send it to Stephen A. for me, all right? Copy and paste the link, tag him, tag the show, tag it to him. Hit him up on Twitter, on X. Yeah. Stephen A., I'd love for you to come on the show, man, and have this conversation. And bring Candace Owens with you. And Senator Tim Scott, he can be a part of this too, who unfortunately is my senator here in the state of South Carolina. All these black people that are caping for this oppression, this system of oppression, who are caping for Project 2025 to become the law of the land, because that is their plan. Let's have this conversation. I love it. So screen grab that, rip that video, send it to Stephen A. Smith, tag him, subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. I'm live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. The Geno Jones Show is brought to you by CM Transportation, www.cm, like Mary, cmtransportationllc.net, cmtransportationllc.net. Reach out to Carissa Carter. She's the CEO. Tell her you were watching the show. You can actually call 843 is the area code, 302, or 606, I should say, 843-606-2702, 843 area code 606-2702. If your business, or maybe you're about to start a business, so new, existing business, doesn't matter. If your business needs dependable, reliable, on-time transportation, CM Transportation is the company for you. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on IG, on Instagram, Kel Be Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check her out on IG, on Instagram, and her collection, LX.NY. NCL_, that little dash behind and at the bottom of the last L on IG, on Instagram. LX.NCL_. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Let's make this episode go viral. Copy and paste the link. Tag everybody you know. Screen grab, rip some of the video, send it to Stephen A. Smith, send it to everybody, or as my man Nelly would say, everybody. I'm here for the culture. 24/7, 365 days, or I should say Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Really, the Geno Jones Show is available 24/7, 366 and a half days. This year, it is a leap year. Always available right here. The Geno Jones Show YouTube channel, part of the Geno Jones Network. Holla at me. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I love you. We'll see you live Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.